Hi, we're going to get started even though we're a smaller group than we expected. We're hoping other people will trickle in, but we kind of have a schedule, so we have to keep to it. So welcome to our Family Care Office orientation for students with family responsibilities. My name is Kay Francis. I'm the manager of the Family Care Office. Sorry, it's going to get used to this. So what we want to do is I just want to acknowledge, first of all, that the Indigenous people were a sovereign nation, and they had a physical and emotional attachment to this land. They're still living here, and we need to acknowledge that they have prospered. We have prospered from this land that we have taken from them. So we'd like to acknowledge the sacred land on which the University of Toronto operates. It has been a site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in this community and on this territory. So what we're hoping for you guys to get out today for some goals is we want to make sure that you're aware of the university resources that support your life as you transition to university life. We're going to provide you with suggestions and how to integrate family and academics. And we're going to help you hopefully expand some of your personal network. So you'll be connecting with other staff, other university staff, I should mention, peer mentors, as well as other students here at U of T. In terms of what we're going to go over today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Family Care Office and what resources we have available here. Around 10:15, this is going to be pushed back a little bit. We're going to do some small group discussions at different theme tables. We have 2 in here and 3 in room 5230, and we're going to explain how that process is going to work, but you're going to have a chance to rotate amongst 3 tables to learn a bit about the resources here at U of T. We're then going to have a panel. We'll have 3 students come up who are going to talk about their strategies, how they've been successful in integrating family life as well as their academics. At 11:30, just so in case some of you have partners who are coming, in 5240, we're going to have a room set up for partners, just a small meet and greet. And then we're all going to go down for lunch at around 12:15 downstairs. So for those of you who've got children, you'll pick up your children or your partner, and you'll go down to the ELC, which is the Early Learning Center, Child Care Center on the first floor of this space. So just initially, just so you understand who the staff here are at the Family Care Office, that's a picture, but it's a little bit dated, just so you realize. I'm in there, but I just want to point out Francesca Dobbin. She's the Director of Family Programs and Services. Maria Jardin, is she in here? Oh, there she is. She's in the corner there. She is our Family Care Advisor with the Student Focus. Julie King, who's sort of running around and doing everything, is our Education Communications Coordinator. She's actually Vicki Chu, who's in the back corner there on the right, but Vicki's no longer with us and Julie is. And then in the front is Melanie DeRoche. She is our Information and Communications Coordinator. She is not here today. She's actually doing some studies herself, but you probably all talked or emailed or somehow connected with her when you were registering for this session. So in terms of where we're located, if you haven't physically visited us, we're at 214 College Street. We're the Kauffer Student Services Center. We're just on the main floor. It's the same building as the U of T bookstore. We're just next to the Second Cup. In terms of our hours, we're open Monday to Fridays, 9 to 5, except for Tuesdays, we're open till 6 p.m. In terms of what we do, so we're a place for students, staff, and faculty. We provide information, guidance, and referrals on a range of family matters. And how we're doing this is generally through workshops, discussion groups, or family events. In terms of what we mean by family matters, that tends to focus on things like you're planning for a child, you're looking for childcare or schooling, you're looking for information on parenting, or perhaps you're in a situation where you're caring for an aging relative and need elder care resources. So as I said, you can connect with us through workshops, discussion groups, or family events. We will have individual appointments as well, but we're not counselors. So if you are looking for counseling, we will make the referral to the appropriate resource offer on campus. We also have a library in which you can borrow books for 2 weeks at a time. Topics range from things like infant care, queer and trans parenting, separation and divorce, elder care, those types of things. So we have a variety of, a small collection of books that you can borrow from us as well. And I wanted to point out that we are available to your partners as well. So if you have a partner and their partner wants to use our services, they can. Most services are open to partners. We will sometimes specify if a workshop is closed, but you'll know that in terms of the description when you look at it. In terms of our bookmarks, they're here, and we've got them on the back table. And I'm actually going to give you a copy of this PowerPoint as well. So you have our contact details. You're going to receive it electronically by email. We'll send it out on Monday. But if you don't have our bookmark and you want our contact details, they're located on this on the back table. We'll have the bookmark available to you. In terms of just giving you a little bit more detail about what we do help around, so when you're saying planning for a child, we will help you with your studies, understanding how to balance studies, if you're an undergraduate, if you're a graduate, perhaps the leave of absence, understanding finances, what's the financial implications of having children, and also understanding childcare. We will have a grad talk, Becoming a Parent in Your Graduate Studies. This has happened in early November. We have workshops throughout the year, so we're going to have an adoption seminar come early October. We're having a Planning for Pregnancy and Beyond workshop that's going to happen at the end of October, and we have our Expectant Parents group that's going to start this Monday. So we have quite a lot of materials, information around planning for a child. If you want to speak to somebody in the office, just connect with us, make an appointment, and we can talk to you about some of the issues, as I said, studies, finances, childcare, those types of things. In terms around just childcare in schools, we do have information. Our probably biggest around choosing childcare that works for your family. We have a workshop that occurs every 3 or 4 months. The next one will be in November. What I would suggest, though, is if you're looking for information now and you need to get childcare information at the moment, we have a table. One of the theme tables is going to be on childcare. Francesca is going to be moderating that table. You may just want to get information on home care, licensed childcare, understanding the wait lists, understanding the costs, because it could be quite expensive. So you're welcome to connect with us, and we'll do an appointment with you and be able to talk to you about your childcare options. School options, hopefully most of you have registered your kids for school. If you haven't, we do have a tip sheet that will help around that. It's on the back table. But if you're also just trying to figure out, well, my child has special needs and I need to understand how the school system is going to help me with my special need child, we have a workshop upcoming on that we'll be doing. And we'll do other various workshops or look through our blog posts to understand schooling. And we do have a babysitter listing. So if you are looking for occasional or temporary babysitting, just need to hire somebody, not sure where to start, connect with us. We'll be able to give you access to a username and a password to our babysitter listing. You'll still have to do all the reference checks. We just double check that the babysitter is a current student or the partner of a current student. You'll do your reference checks, but then you'll have access to some babysitters here who are registered with U of T. In terms of, as I said, financial information, we'll always, if you want to make an appointment to talk to us about any financial concerns you may be having, we do have a child care subsidy workshop coming up around September 20th, which I think is this Friday. You'll be able to, we got tip sheets, thrift stores, secondhand clothing. We have our Facebook group that has some parent exchange, so if you're looking to buy things inexpensively from other students or other families who are giving away their materials. If you're perhaps a TA and you're trying to figure out what's available to you through your collective agreement, you may want to talk to us as well. And in terms of caring for elders, I think this should be a bit more broader now. It should be a bit more around caring for others in your family. It could be siblings, it could be an aging relative, it could be a grandparent. You may not be the primary caregiver involved, but you may have some of these responsibilities. So make sure, we don't get as many students in this area, but we do have some students connecting with us. They're looking for community resources, that type of thing. But in terms of upcoming events, we do have a workshop called Brain Games on Dementia that's happening mid-October. We are going to have the Alzheimer's Society come on campus and do appointments. And in end of November, we're also going to have a session called Understanding the System. So for those of you who are in a caregiving scenario for an elderly person or an aging relative, you may want to come to that session just to get a sort of the base work or the basis of what the system is and how it can work for you. In terms of other workshops and events, what we do have is, we have a variety of scents, and everything is sort of posted on our bulletin. We've got a foam board back there. You can take a picture of it, or you can just go to our website and look up the events. But we've got workshops like Say Goodbye to Homework Hassles. We have talking with parents and children about sexual and gender diversity. We have Happy Parents, Happy Kids. Happy Feet is the cartoon. Making your own baby food is also coming up. So these are different events. We try and schedule them, but they're available for you as caregivers of children, and hopefully you'll be able to get some information, you or your partner. We do have a life management series of workshops. This is specific, so when I said most things are open for partners, this one isn't. It's strictly for the students because we're talking about your academic supports as well as integrating family. It is a workshop series. We've got one coming up at the end of November on advocating for yourself and one's family through letters and email, so you're welcome to attend that. We're probably trying to do one on stress management as well with the Academic Success Center, hopefully about end of October, early November. The one thing I'll mention is this is a co-curricular record approved activity. So if you attend 4 workshops over 2 years, you're going to get on your transcript, and the co-curricular record is a separate transcript from your academic transcript in which you'll get a notation that you've attended these sessions. So if you're interested in learning more about co-curricular records, you might want to go to our theme table because we have Rose Lynn here who's going to talk about that. Or you may be interested just in the life management series yourself as someone who wants to attend and then get the acknowledgement that you've attended these sessions. In terms of other activities, we have some groups. A lot of people say to us they need to belong. They want to know there are other student parents on campus. How can I connect to other people? So we've done some groups. We're going to be strolling with the FCO. We went in August to Riverdale Farm. We're hoping to go, actually I think it's this Wednesday or Thursday, Maria? Wednesday. We're doing, you're going to look at the St. George campus and family-friendly places. It's meant for younger children, but you might welcome to come, you or your partner, and attend with Maria. You just have to sign up for it. We have a parents group at the Student Family Housing. This is actually going to begin again this Thursday as well. It's in Student Family Housing. I believe it's 30 Charles Street, and you can talk to other parents and exchange with, it could be partner or it could be the parent. We are also planning to do some pizza nights, so student family pizza nights at the Graduate Students Union. You can be an undergrad or a graduate. You're welcome to attend with your partner, with your child. You'll all be in the same room. We'll have some activities for the kids. Pizzas, nothing too expensive, but pizza slice for you and your family. Be able to sort of connect over the dinner hour and be able to meet other parents as well. We have family events throughout the year. We connect with the Athletic Center, and they usually allow us to get tickets or free ability to go to some of their varsity experiences. So we're planning to do the varsity swim team in November. There'll be a physical activity for your children ahead of time, and then you'll be able to sit down and see the swim meet. So we'll look for that as well. Different activities we'll do come March. We'll do March break events. We had just last August, we went to the planetarium here with the Department of Astronomy. We'll be doing that again in March as well. So look out for these family events. Now the peer mentorship program, and I think I see a couple of peer mentors here. I don't know if you want to take a stand or just wave your hand so people know who you are. We want to point out that we do have peer mentors available. Oh, there's another person in the back. Okay, yeah. So basically, this is an ability for students to connect with other students. It's more confidential, a little bit more supportive. You may feel more comfortable talking to another student. You're welcome to make a match with any of the peer mentors. It could be for as short a time as you want. It could be just an email exchange, or it could be you want to meet for coffee, or you want to meet a little bit more ongoing. If you're looking for a peer mentor match, speak to Maria Jardin, or speak to one of the peer mentors, or just give us an email and say you're looking for a match. We'll try and get as close as we can for you. We can't guarantee, though. We only have about 10 or 11 peer mentors. You might be able to talk to them about, I've got to talk to my graduate supervisor. I'm expecting a child, and I'm not too sure how to go ahead about this. So they can talk to you about their experiences. They could be talking about, my toddler, I can't get them to sleep. How do I do this? And they can talk to you about what they went through and how they've experienced it. But it's a nice way for you to talk to another student and be able to get some information. So the other thing I should mention is on Tuesdays from 12 to 2, we have a peer mentor coordinator, and she's going to be available every Tuesdays in our office. So maybe you just want to drop in and talk to a peer mentor very quickly. Feel free on Tuesdays from 12 to 2 to come in and talk to her as well. Okay. So the peer mentors, I think we've only got 3 here, but if you want to just stand up, you're welcome. Or Matita's actually going to be on our panel as well, so she's doing a double role today. I wanted to mention the Family Study Space at Robarts. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this, but this is a room. It's on the 9th floor. You do need to get a fob for it, and you have to register. So as I said, when I send you the information through email, you'll be able to get the web link. We also have some information on our back table. But this is a nice space on campus where perhaps you can keep your child with you and do some work. Maybe you have to do a group project, and you need to bring your child with you. Get your child busy with some activities, and you can meet with your classmates in the other part of the room and be able to get some work done. It's just a nice availability for you to have access on campus where you can bring your child. They are going to have an open house this Tuesday from 12 to 2. You're welcome to bring your children with you. They've got some light refreshments, but that could be a way for you to be able to sign up and get the fob for the room as well. They are planning on doing some child minding around exam time. So you may want to, again, keep an eye on us. We'll give out the information. They've got brochures and information that we've also got available. As we learn more about child minding, we'll let you guys know as well. Okay. So just in terms of some other resources, just so you're familiar with, we have a child care reimbursement fund. It's a very small amount of money available through our office. If you've got some extracurricular or co-curricular activity at U of T in which you need to go to, but you can't cover the child care costs, connect with our office and we can talk to you about whether or not you can get some child care costs covered for that. Breastfeeding locations, baby change station locations, that's on our website. You may want to just take a picture of what we've got in terms of a handout as well, but we've got these places available around campus. Healthcare benefits, so you've got OHIP or UHIP, but you're looking to get family coverage for prescription drugs, say that type of thing. So you, depending on what you are, if you're an undergraduate student, a part-time student, or a graduate student, you're going to want to go to your student union to be able to do this by the end of September and register your family for their benefits. So if you haven't done so, you might want to connect with your student union to be able to understand how to get your healthcare benefit coverage. And we do have a U of T food bank. It's located in the Multi-Faith Center. It's on Fridays from 12 to 3. They're on Spadina Avenue. You can access the food bank. You'll just have to make sure you have your timetable and your T card, so you have to register for the service, and then you'll be able to use them. So again, that information's on our website if you're looking for any more details about the food bank. I just want to mention, people talk to us about the equity offices. We are an equity office, the family care office, but there are other equity offices on campus, sexual gender diversity office, the anti-racism cultural diversity office. This little bookmark, it's on the back table, has all the listings as well as the websites for the different equity offices here at U of T. There's the office of the ombudsperson, if you're looking to talk to somebody more confidentially and seeing if any change. They look at fair and just procedural information and whether or not they can affect change, they will. But you can connect with them. And then we've got some information sheets on the back table. You're welcome to take a picture. We've got a few copies. You can take some shots of those as well, or take a copy if you're interested on various things, whether it's family-friendly places on campus, how to apply for the child care subsidy, that type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up there. It's about 10:25 right now, so we're about 10 minutes behind. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and now put you guys into some small groups so you can be able to understand a little bit more about resources here at U of T. And the way this is going to happen is we're going to ask you to choose which of these 5 tables you want to go to. You're going to have a chance to rotate through 3 tables for about 15 minutes each. So I'm going to, at the first round, if you just want to sort of look, so we're in this room, in the back table, we've got Alice Brummel. She's the coordinator of student supports and financial aid, I believe. Yes, at Still Graduate Studies. We also have the table 5 for all students who are interested in child care or after school care. You may want to speak to Fran. She's in the back table there. In room 5230, so we've got somebody who's going to help you to get to 5230, but it's just 2 doors down. We're going to have these 3 tables. For the undergraduate students, we're going to have 2 people from the registrar's office. I think it's from UC, as well as from Woodsworth College. Then we're going to have all students can go to the Life Beyond the Classroom table, and that's going to be around information. It could be things around the co-curricular record, so Rose Lynn will be there, as well as an individual from grad programming and GPS, which is the Graduate Professional Skills Program. And then on the 4th table, it's kind of got a bunch of people, but hopefully if you can connect with them as well. They've got accessibility services. I think it's Rashmi is going to be there. We've got the learning strategist from the Academic Success Center. And we've got 2 individuals from the Graduate Conflict Resolution Center. So take a look at the tables, figure out where you want to go. As I said, you're going to have 3 chances to go to whatever table you're interested in. If you want to step up now and just start separating yourselves, hopefully not everybody's going to go to Alice first, just to realize, because I know she's very popular with the Table 1 for graduate students, but realize you are going to have a chance to see her afterwards if you need to. So why don't you grab a coffee or water and then decide which table you want to go to. And those who are staffing tables, if you want to head over there as well, that would be great. For some students with family responsibilities, they're going to talk to you a little bit about their supports, how they've been successful, how they've integrated family life with their academics. So we were very fortunate to have Asmita. I'm sorry I don't even know Asmita's last name, but she's a peer mentor. She is going to be replacing Jennifer today. She has 2 children, 4 and 10, and she's a peer mentor and a PhD student at OIZ. We have Joe Wilson next to her. His description is up here. He's a first-year PhD student. He's a primary caregiver to 3 girls, 8, 6, and 3. And Matita is an undergraduate student. She's in her 3rd year, and she's a sole parent to a 7-year-old son. So before we begin, I just want to let you know that we are videotaping the panelists. So Maria, who's going to be moderating the panel as well, the panelists will be videotaped, but you're not videotaped, so don't worry. We're just going to have these guys on mic. It's just so that those people who can't attend today will be able to hear the panel afterwards. And I also wanted to mention, because I don't think I made this clear, so you're going to get the PowerPoint. I'm going to send it to you guys by email. As long as you're registered, we'll be able to get that out to you. But if you're interested in signing up for our newsletter, which comes out about twice a month, which just gives out the events, the dates of things that are going to happen, the different articles, you may want to register yourself by putting your email down on the listserv sign-up. It's on the back table, so just take a minute to do that as well. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Maria now, and she will go and talk to you guys about the panelists.
And we'll go through the panelists with the questions and then open up to you. And I'll have to repeat every question so it gets recorded as well. So our first questions, and thank you so much for accepting to be in the panel. The first question is, how did you manage your family life, work, and school at U of T in your first year as a parent? Who wants to go?
Okay, thank you so much, Maria. So first year, when I came through the transitional year program, obviously, and then that was just a year after I immigrated to Canada. And then I have my child join me, so it was pretty challenging. It was really overwhelming. I wouldn't really lie about it, because I had to navigate the system within Canada here in the first place, and getting my child to school and getting myself adjusted to understand this whole huge institution here in U of T. So it was pretty challenging, but when I came, obviously I had to go to the family care office, which I found. I mean, I genuinely don't think I would have been able to make it without the support that I got there in the first place, because even getting housing and all that not was really, really challenging. But yeah, so through that support, and obviously also through the administration at the time, the registrar's office, and the network that I was able to build, I think that really helped me out a lot. Notwithstanding, I also had to apply some other personal skills that I have, promising myself that I could definitely do it, that I am obviously not the first person to go through all these challenges, and then looking at other strategies as to timing myself, what I would do, when I would do what. I think that was really helpful. Like sometimes I have to wait until my child is asleep before I am able to do certain things, and also knowing which areas that I could go to make sure that I am able to have a quiet moment that I could read, focus, and all that. Not so yeah, it was overwhelming, but that's how I manage it.
Great, thanks. So I'm really lucky in that I have a partner who has a full-time job with benefits, and so that allows me a lot more flexibility. And one of the nice things about grad school is that, I mean, it's a ton of work, but it is pretty flexible. And so, I mean, I can literally remember, you know, like mapping the calendar out for the semester, with all the things that aren't flexible that go on there. This is the time the school bus leaves. This is the time the school bus gets here. I got to be there. So sometimes that constrains the courses you can take, or you know, the kinds of work you can pick up. But I was lucky enough to be able to have my partner as, you know, full time there. So so for me, I was pretty lucky because I had a good support system with my partner. My in-laws live in the city as well. You know, so you just kind of layer things on one by one, and it's requires some juggling. You know, some reading, you know, on the bus and in strange places. Well, you know, I'm waiting at the doctor's office for my kid to get a booster shot, and I'm reading, like, you know, a dissertation by somebody in social anthropology. But you know, grad school does allow for a bit of that flexibility. So if you can take advantage of it, you know, you can do some of that juggling.
Okay. I think the first year, especially the first 3 months, I would say were very challenging because we were also new in Canada and we had to like understand, okay, where does my child go for the childcare and how do I get the subsidies? And because there were 2 kids, so I have to think separately for both of them. And then there were my classes which were starting up. And so to manage all of that together, it just took a big toll on me. And I think even harder were the first winters, because those were like the first Canadian winters, and well, everybody spoke about how it's cold, but I think from a parent's perspective, I did see the challenge of how do I engage my children in those winters. And I have to read and I have to study, but then I also don't want them to watch screens in the evening, so what am I supposed to do? So I think all of that really took a toll, but what really helped were networks within, because I'm pretty privileged probably to be on the student family housing. It's a fabulous place to be for student parents, and then we could kind of network with other parents to see, okay, what is it that we can do together to make this possible and not as crazy as it could have been, so yeah.
And that's exactly what we want to talk about next, the support network for parents. Why are they, how important they were for you, and how you went about building that type of support?
I'll start. Okay, so I think one, I clearly said that the parent groups, the networks with other parents, could be with people who have children of the same age or not, depending upon also how many years have they been in Canada. You know, that kind of matters, because if both are fine, they bring their own learning, because those who have entered with you, they have the similar struggles, so we kind of share an emotional, you know, connection, whereas those who've been here for a while could really share that, okay, you know what, you could take your children to the library and there are so-and-so events there, or you could enroll through City of Toronto, and then there are a lot of events that happen for children there. So those are the kind of networks that really helped, and I think I can't emphasize ever enough how Family Care Office was really helpful because of the events that they were organizing at a regular basis. So a lot of information which would be hearsay and which you wouldn't know, okay, you know, somebody's saying something about how to, let's say, get subsidies, and somebody else is saying something else because they have different experiences. So Family Care Office would be that one place where you could get that authentic kind of an information of, okay, how do I go about it? So yeah, I think these two were very important resources for me.
Again, I grew up in just outside Toronto, and I've been in Toronto for 20 years now. And so I'm really lucky to have built up friends and family here that we can rely on. I think one of the things that I do now is, you know, 20 years ago when I was doing my undergrad, you know, I was a little shyer about this, but these days, if I'm in an orientation for my grad program, and I see somebody who's a little older, and I see that they're married and maybe they have kids, I'll just go over and be like, "Hi, what do you do with your kids? Like, what are they doing right now?" Just because they might have ideas, right? You never know what, you know, how they've creatively solved that problem as well. I mean, the second thing I do this sounds so calculating, but during March break, when I'm home with the kids, or over the Christmas holidays, or even in the summer, when I'm home with the kids, I'll invite my kids' friends over for full-day play dates, so that in a few months, when it's exam time and I need to get rid of my kids for a day, I'll email and be like, "Hey, you wanna get together for a play date?" And I know it's their turn, right? So I can drop them off at 9 and pick them up after lunch or whatever. So it's kind of, I mean, it sounds calculating, but it's through those kind of reciprocal exchange that you build up these networks, right? And other parents get it, right? You know, so those networks, this network is super important for that kind of thing.
Great, thanks. So yeah, I mean, if there's anybody who definitely need that connection, I think I am one of those, because it's just me and my child in this whole part of the world. But what I do is like both within and out of the school, I try to have networks. In the school, other than the family care office, obviously, like I have friends in my class, like the undergrad class. Sometimes I'll look for mature students and I'll ask if they have kids. And I was lucky to have some friends who have children. So I try to connect with them. And here and there we will go out. I mean, we have fabulous fun this summer. So like here and there we will go out, we will have events. Because with my case, my child is deaf. And I always want to have him around people who wouldn't be very ableist. It's really hard in this society. And then like the way people think about deaf people and also not being able to communicate. Some people don't really mean bad, but they are just unable to communicate with him. And then I want him not to feel alone or not to feel kind of like, you know, oh, sorry, that kind of thinking. I want him to feel his whole personhood, to be respected, to know that he could have fun, like he's human and that kind of thing. So I am very selective in terms of like the friends that I have and the people that I allow him to be around. And then I try to build that both within and outside the school. Outside the school too, you could have like deaf communities who believe in their deaf culture and everything. So I try to link with those kind of communities. And also in my personal community, I am still working on that. I am part of like an executive committee where like I try to talk about disability and deafness and some other issues that some of our people experience, so that like when he is within that community, he would feel belonged. So this is what I am trying to build. Hopefully we will get more connection and that would help.
All right, and we all know how important it is, a registrar's office or department, in supporting academic success. What would you, each of you, suggest for getting your story heard, like I am a parent, and advocating for oneself with the registrar or home department? Registrar's office or home department?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's like what I do here and there, like last year, for instance, the year was really rough for me. It was a whole lot of on and off, and then my child goes to a very far school, for instance, all the way in North York, and then we live in the student family housing. So here and there I'll be called, and then I have assignments, I have a whole lot of things, so sometimes I feel so overwhelmed. So I'll go to the registrar's office and be like, well, this is my story. I am a single parent, a sole parent, and then I have a 7-year-old here, and then I am trying to maintain a certain kind of like standard in the U of T. Hopefully I'm able to maintain that. So like I talk to them, I share my story, and then I want to be heard, I want to be listened to, I need advice, I just need somebody to talk to me or just to show me like resources and all that. Not so yeah, it might be very hard sometimes to just go out there to share your story to people that you are not really familiar with. But yeah, I just kind of find the courage to do that, and then just advocate for myself to make sure that I could be well fitted in my college and in my registrar's area, but just to make sure that I am able to achieve or like have what I need, so that like I am not affected in any way towards my academic achievement. I don't know if that makes sense.
So at the department level, I think again, I'm pretty lucky. In anthropology, as a social science, people are already pretty sensitive to issues like this. Like, I've seen kids at the department running around. And also, a lot of the professors have kids too. So when you bring it up, they know what it's like. So at my department, I felt pretty supported. I think the key person is the graduate coordinator for the department. When I was applying and missing emails, and it was so crazy. She was like the anchor connection to the school, and that's the person who submits all the forms and fills it out. So, I would suggest make friends with that person. I brought her a coffee in like the first week of school, and I knew, I was like, I'm gonna be bugging you for a lot of stuff, and I do, but it's cool. I do. I think it is anyway. But so yeah, at the department level, I think the departments are often small enough that you can tell your story and be known for your family. That's part of your identity. The last thing too is that I often advocate on behalf. Like, most departments have a diversity and equity committee, and for me and for our department, but for me, I keep reminding them, part of what we mean by diversity is diversity in age and diversity in family situation, and so students with kids, that's a difference to be celebrated. It's not, having your kids around isn't a burden. It's a gift, and that's part of who you are as a parent. So trying to hit the diversity committee with that message.
Yeah, I really resonate with that one. And also, to add to that, probably I would always raise a question on when were the socials being organized, the department socials. They would usually be in the evenings, and I'd be like, are you expecting parents to not come because we don't have childcare at like 7 to 9? And so a lot of times I would just make it clear that I'm going to come with kids, and would also encourage others to do the same, so that you don't miss out on all of those socials if you are that kind of a person who wants to be networking and who wants to have a little bit of chilled out time after all of those heavy readings and everything that you did. So that was one way of creating spaces. The other was also in the era of forward cuts. There is also funding that gets impacted. I don't know how many of you avail OSAP, but I did, and it's been literally 1/3 of the money that I get this year as compared to what I did get in the previous years. And so I would also bring that up. I don't know if it's going to result in something, but I would definitely bring it up with my registrar and my departments to kind of say that I am a person with family responsibilities, and I am a full-time student, and you need to be thinking about this as to how I'm going to support, the living with my kids and the family. So yeah, those are just the two things.
Thank you. How about communicating with your professors? There will always be the day when one kid is sick, or one of your kids, or your kid, or you have a family member who urgently needs your assistance. So how did you talk with your professors about that, or how would you talk?
I think, again, like Joseph said, I think in grad school, especially in social sciences, and with professors who do have kids or have that kind of experience, it's a very straightforward talk, and it doesn't always have to even be serious. I remember in my very first year, there was Halloween in the first term, and I wanted to be with the kids because they were so excited about, dressing up. And like with my 4-year-old, I really had to do it all by myself with her. So I just told the professor that I'm going to leave this class midway. I'm sorry, but it's Halloween. And and he was understanding. And for serious situations, even more, if your family needs you, if they're sick, just be very straightforward. And I think my priority is always right in there, that it's always them first, because all through the year, they make a lot of adjustments in terms of schedules and a lot of things that they miss, because I'd be like, I'm reading right now, I can't attend to you right now. And so I understand that kind of reciprocal relationship needs to be there. And so, yeah, Just be straightforward with the professors. Don't think what they're gonna think. Just say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's something I would do too. And at the grad level, right, there's lots of seminars, smaller classes. So if you've got 6 or 8 or 10 other people in your class, it's more just like a meeting of colleagues, right? And I'll just often say at the beginning of a class, I've got 3 kids, one of whom is sick at any given time. So if my phone goes, I'm not being rude, but I have to take it. And they're usually like, that's fine. And again, yeah, because a lot of the professors have kids that age too, so they get it. They know what it's like. And I feel like people, one-on-one, are a lot more understanding if you just tell them up front.
I think like I do very similar things too. It's like the first thing I do is I talk to my professor, and then I always have my phone around me because it could ring at any time. It might not be fun sometimes. It's on vibration, obviously, but I just let them know that I have a child, and then like anything can happen, and sometimes he's stubborn, so I am called to go to his school and all that. Not, but then I feel even with assignments or there is something coming up. Sometimes I cannot make it to deadlines and all that. Not, I make sure that I communicate with them prior. Just let them know what my reality is and what I would definitely need. So sometimes I am also like registered with accessibility services, and some might ask for like accommodation. So I have to share, but often because I am in equity and women and gender studies, and they understand these dynamics very well. So I genuinely don't have much problems.
And if you mentioned the family care office already, just mention something else. What was the most helpful resource on or off campus that you would recommend to other parents?
Okay, so what I would say, for me especially, I would say like the family care office. It's like my resource bank because that's where everything started for me. So like they help me navigate through a whole lot of things. One, for instance, to be able to get subsidies, to be able to have my child registered in daycare, to help me like get even like just show me which schools, like how I could, because this is just somebody who is really new. So I find that so helpful. Other than that, other resources that I find so helpful would be like academic success, because English is not my first language, and I own this app. So I needed improvement. I always want to improve myself, and I am not shy. I am not like, I could be intimidated in a way, but not super. I am always somebody who wants to learn to be able to improve herself. So I admit up my limitations, my challenges, and all that not, and look forward to any way that could help me improve. That's a personal goal that I have. So I find academic success really helpful. I find the writing center really helpful and super resourceful for me. And yeah, like I would really recommend that to anybody willing to improve themselves.
As for specific resources, kind of specific to my case, I mean, one of the best ones is the athletic center or Heart House. Like keeping your sanity, and I mean, I don't need to tell a room full of tired parents that it's hard to stay active, get exercise in. But if you can run it around in a circle for 20 minutes or jump in a pool, and it's part of your student fees, it's just that saved me a few days. The second thing for me, which I didn't know existed, maybe didn't when I was an undergrad, we don't have a car, and I cycle everywhere. And there's a free cycle clinic, and I've like rolled into there a few times with something hanging off my bike that's broken, and they're happy to fix it. And so bikes are a great way to get around the campus and around the city if you can stomach the construction and traffic. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it was your story. You mentioned that you were bringing your son into a class, and the professor actually gave a certificate to the kid at the end of the class. can I put you on the spot and ask you to tell that story? Because I've told that story a number of times to remind people how pulling our kids into our academic lives can be enriching. They're not a burden. They're part of the university.
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me that. So like with my WGS class, because often I bring my child. It's like the daycare starts at 6 p.m. So any course beyond 6, like I am obliged to bring my child because it's just 2 of us. I've done this like in few occasions, but this past winter, like I had my WGS professor award my child a certificate. Like that meant a lot to me. I was like, because always like there's this kind of self-guilt, that I have. And also like there are students sometimes here and there, he's not super nosy or something, but here and there he would like do something that will attract people's attention and everybody would just look at him and all that not. So like sometimes I feel guilty, but when my professor did that, I was so grateful. And to me, like all the professors should definitely emulate these kind of things, because it shows people that, children are also part of us. They are like an integral part of us, and they are contributing in their little ways. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for the other students to see that professor turn that into an opportunity is a great lesson for some of the younger students watching that process.
And I second the bike chain and the athletic center, but I would also say the Graduate Center for Academic Communications, GCAC. I think it's really helped me through my master's and also continues to help me now, because as a student with family responsibilities, you only have so much time. And you can spend either a whole day reading a book, or you want to get past it as soon as possible, yet, taking away everything that needs to be. And I think that center is a place which talks a lot about all of these things, and they have very specific timed workshops by really great professors. Which I think it's very helpful to manage your time effectively, and I think that really matters to a student parent. So yeah.
All right, so now we're going to take your questions. Do you have any questions for them? Yes, please.
Yeah, before that, I just want to point out one thing what you said. I think that's very impressive. I think what Professor has done, when you take it, I think I'm very impressed with that. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, one more thing, the question which I want to ask is like, I think most of the events which is going on in the university, particularly for grad students, I think we can attend that. Can we bring our spouse as well at some time, and which events we can bring and which events we cannot bring? Like, could you please give some?
You mean the family care office events?
No, in university
Oh.
events which is going on around. I mean, if it's specific to the department, I do understand that, and we have to be the only person to be there.
Mhm.
But what are the other events where we can bring them? Because I'm staying outside from family care housing, so I want to bring them at some point of time.
Okay, so the question is, when can you bring your partner to events in the university when it happens in the evenings? Is that, yeah. Okay, so so he started by thanking the panel. You would have to check in each of the events. If it's our events, most of them, are open to partners and kids. We try and have that every single time. And we try to have events specifically for, the partners and kids to come as well, right? So they're very welcome. And if you come to the university at a time, like if it's during the day, for example, I don't know how old your kid is, but if it's during the day, you can always, I would invite your partner to actually sign up for the tour that we're going to have on Wednesday, because that's a tour for students and their partners to actually get to know the university and the places where they can stay while you are in a class, for example, and they want to visit campus. Yeah, so. Sure. Yes, go for it.
I'll just add that I can understand that student partners can have a very isolating life on campus or off campus, because we as students still end up making a lot of networks by the way of our academic endeavors, but they may not. And understanding that, I mean, my husband, he's been on U of T street food festivals, and we've been to Hart House dinners, and tonight we're going for the planet gazing party at the Astronomy Institute. So I always try that my entire family just goes wherever there's recreational stuff happening, even on U of T, unless of course it's specified that, you know, it's only for U of T students. So I think that's a very important point. Yeah.
Okay, and just so you all know, there's this huge, it's not in the planetarium, they're going to do it at Front Campus tonight. I guess the whole day. They're going to be there, the Astronomy and Astrophysics department. So I know we have cloudy skies, but, you know, who knows? It can get better, right? Any other question?
I know there's a room on the 9th floor of Robarts Library. They were saying that this is a space where you could potentially bring your kids if you have a group study project or you want to try to get some work done. Do you guys have anywhere else on campus that you would suggest would be a place that might be child-friendly where you could potentially get some work done? Any out-of-the-way nooks or crannies?
I've just used the in our department in anthropology. There's
Oh,
like
I'm sorry. I don't think I repeated the
Oh,
question.
yeah.
So the question was that she knows that we have the family study space on Roberts Library on the 9th floor, but what other spaces on campus would they bring their kids to, right, when they have to?
So just the department lounge in the Department of Anthropology, like grad student lounge. You know, I just bring some toys and books and stuff, and they can hang out and climb on the sofas. And I decided once that I would leave some toys there in the corner to remind people that, like, there are kids here and my kids are here and they're part of the department, sort of. And again, I'm really lucky in anthropology. People thought that was cool. You know, my undergrad was in astronomy, and I choose my words carefully. In some of the harder sciences and some of the more male-dominated departments, I think it might be a little different. But just like kind of co-opting a corner of a grad lounge or a lounge works. And I found too, my kids like to see where I go to school. They think it's so cool, right? Yeah, yeah. On the first day of school, we all sit around dinner, and they're asking me, "Are your teachers nice? Like, who did you eat lunch with and stuff?"
And it's nice too because it's kind of role modeling, right, for them. It's really nice. I really like seeing the kids here. So, any other questions? Yes. Okay, the question is whether there will be events throughout the year where you could meet other student parents or student families. In the building. Are you asking about student family housing? Oh, okay. So we can talk separately about that. Yeah, because student family housing is the residence here for the student families. The ones who are fortunate to be there because they have great rent there are a number of things, and it's another department. It's not us. So I do some things there. I'm embedded there at student family housing on Thursdays. I do a parents group for kids 5 and under as well. But it's actually another department it's their department that takes care of the activities inside the building. Now, maybe Asmita can talk, or Matida can talk a little about that, right?
So yeah, there's a lot that happens at student family housing. There are loads of events for all age groups of children as well as adults. And then there are also a lot of outdoors that they take us, which you have to pay a very, very minimal kind of a fee. And then, so that it's fantastic. And then as far as connecting with your neighbors is concerned, there are a lot of socials that happen within the building. Almost once a term where you can connect with people. And there are also very specific events. One that I'm really reminded of is like there was an event on how TDSB functions. And so as parents, what could our role be in school councils and everything? So yeah, they could be as specific as that and could be as general as there's a Halloween party. So yeah, so there's, and we can connect after to talk more. I get very excited when it comes to student family housing because that's like part and parcel of my life.
So Sarah, for the family care office, we do have events throughout the year. We do have family events where partners can attend, children can attend, and we have that on the website, but we also have some of them on the resources table. I would also sign up for the newsletter because that way you would be, you would have what's upcoming. Sometimes it takes us, like we have a general list of workshops and events, but right in the middle, we're able to actually have another one that wasn't planned before. So the newsletter is really the best way to know about our events. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, so the question is, you guys, is it hard to make friends on campus, or you only like gravitate kind of towards other students with children, or how is that? Okay.
So I would say with my personal experience, it is and it is not, depending on what you want, right? So personally, I know I can, I definitely want to be friends with people, especially in school, who really have family background, because it helps me a lot. But also like here and there, because I try to organize study groups, so you don't necessarily have to have like a child to be part of this study group. And sometimes it could go beyond, because maybe after the course we could meet here and there. But most of my friends are people who have like families, and then like, yeah.
I became friends with a number of the people in my program who didn't have kids, but not often hey, let's go out after class. I was just like, sorry, I can't. And again, I'm pretty lucky. I wasn't looking for a big network, but certainly if I know there's somebody who's older and has kids in the program, I'll just go over to them and be like, we're gonna be friends because we're gonna need each other here. Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say that you do make all kinds of friends. So it's just typically how we make friends. We just connect with people, and that's what clicks. But definitely, you do have a little more. You bend towards people who have families and who have children. That works better. But then I also have friends who do not have kids at all. And so at times, if we want to meet up, I would just invite them over to my place, and I'd be like, okay, let's have lunch together. But you gotta come home because I can't get two kids all over to, a pub and then have lunch there. So you better come to my place. So that kind of works well. And people value, I haven't really, maybe I've just been lucky enough that I've never really come across somebody having a negative attitude towards people. I mean, for me, having children or anything like that, they would just be more considerate, if anything, so.
Questions? Okay, so I just want to mention that both Asmita and Matida are our mentors in the family care office. You can connect with them informally throughout this, or you can ask us to be matched. We also have some other mentors here, and that's Sana here, and Fatima, sorry. Fatima and Priyanka back there. Priyanka has other types of family responsibilities. So if you're in that type of family composition, or if you have other types of family responsibilities, please, you can speak with her, or you can have her as a mentor. And she's also she's the peer mentorship coordinator in the office, and she's going to be there on Tuesdays, as Kay mentioned, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And just another, yes, sorry. Yes, we do have two male peer mentors who are not here today. One is undergrad, the other one is grad. So yeah, we do have male mentors. They're not going to be in the picture either, but they are there. You can request that.
I don't have a shirt, but but you can we can talk for sure. Like yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I need a shirt. I'll get a shirt. Yeah.
Okay, so the question was if there were male mentors, and yes, we do have, and we have Joseph also offering. So, any other questions, guys? Okay, so I would like to thank you for being here. And mention that we have bags in the office. We forgot about that. Toy bags in the office. We have one for each age range, and they're not too many. And you can borrow. Let's say you had an emergency and you had to bring your kid to school, and there's nothing. So you can go by, grab a bag, and then you return it to us. Okay? It's another way that we try. And I love your initiative of making your own toy corner. In your department, you should all do the same. But I would like to thank you guys so much for doing this and for being available to speak with the students. And I would like to provide you with a small token, a thank you card. And this is yours and Matilda. So.
Sorry, my mic just fell down. It's good? Okay. So thank you so much to all the panelists, so Matilda, Joe, and Smita for coming in today and doing this panel for us. So in terms of what we have to do for the rest of the afternoon, we just get to go have lunch now. So we get to socialize, meet with other parents, go pick up your kids. So in terms of a few things, if you can, so I've put up our email or online, where we get Facebook, things like that, so you can jot that down, or as I said, I'm going to email the presentation out, so you will have that on your email come Monday. If you can take a minute to fill out the evaluation form, we'd appreciate it. It'll just help us for next year as we try and do the orientation again. Also, in terms of if you can take everything with you, we're not going to come back up to this room. So just make sure you take all your stuff with you because you'll go downstairs. Now, in terms of going down, we have students who will help direct you. So for those of you who've got kids in the Child Care Center, you will be asked just to sort of register as you go in because we're going to make sure that you take responsibility for your children at that point. If you don't have kids, or if you've got your partner next door, just pick them up as you're going down and go downstairs as well for lunch. It'll be a little congested at the beginning, but it should all work out. You can take a seat and just sit in the Child Care Center for lunch as well. And it's on the main floor here, the Early Learning Center. Is there anything else?
There was, but it just slipped my mind. It's just to say that we are going to be in the Dicker Center,
Yeah.
so you're going to get a chance of getting to know one of them. I also would like to mention that we have a student just sitting there, and Kirby was our mentor as well, and he's going to be around until October, right?
I guess, yes, officially. You want me to offer?
No. I was just saying because there was a question about male mentors, and we don't have that many, so I decided to mention.
I am a teacher in the field board right now, and will be defending my thesis late October.
So you can be successful.
Yes, it's our success history story.
But I've been here for 6-7 years, and I've used family care office. I've mentored, learned from the peer mentors as well.
All right. And he, at Oise, right? That's where he is. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to mention that we did not mention, and it's not here, if you go to our Facebook page, you're going to see that we have a U of T exchange page of all kinds of equipment, toys. Anyone can actually, I don't
So
remember the
we
exact
mentioned
name.
it, but anyways, just go to the Facebook page and look up Parent Exchange, and you'll be able to also see an ability to, these are inexpensive, people are just sort of sharing their stuff they're trying to get rid of as their kids get older. Hopefully you'll be able to see if anything interests you, and you'll be able to exchange with the parents. All right, so thank you so much for coming today. Hope we're going to meet you all downstairs now for lunch. As I said, just fill out the evaluation form if you've got a minute, and then you want to head down to the lunchroom on the main floor.